way past the ingredients to look at the ratios, the timing, the why behind the method.
Okay, let's get into it. The first thing that jumps out at me
How
is
about
the
this?
structure. This isn't just cook fish, make sauce. It's laid out in three very distinct, very critical phases.
Absolutely. And each one depends on the last. You've got phase one, which is all about the chemistry of marinade. Then phase two, which is this layered emulsification process for the sauce.
And then the physics of the grilling itself.
Exactly. Phase three, the high heat part, and this really unique finishing technique they have. It's a whole system.
So let's start at the beginning. Phase one, the marinade. The source is very specific. This is for 1 kilogram of fish. And the blend of ingredients it's pretty assertive. It's savory, spicy, aromatic.
It is, and it's so specific. For the base, you're starting with 4 tablespoons of soy sauce.
Which is interesting.
It is, because soy sauce isn't just for salt. It's a huge injection of glutamates. You're building that deep umami flavor right from the very start.
And then the rest of the profile builds on that. You have half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper powder, your basic foundation.
The baseline, yeah.
Then 1 tablespoon of chili flakes for heat and 1 tablespoon of garlic. This huge non-negotiable instruction from the source. It's about time.
Yes.
The fish has to be set aside for 1 full hour.
And that hour is everything. It's the difference between just seasoning the surface and getting true flavor penetration deep into the flesh.
So what's actually happening in that hour?
It's basically osmosis and a little protein denaturation. The salt and the soy sauce are actively drawing a bit of moisture out from the surface of the fish.
Okay.
And then they carry all those other flavors, the garlic, the chili, back into the flesh.
Hold on. If the salt is drawing moisture out, doesn't that risk drying out the fish before you even get it to the grill? That seems counterintuitive.
That's a great question, and it really speaks to how controlled this marinade is. It's not highly acidic, like a ceviche, which would cook the fish and make it chalky. The high salt content and that 1 hour time limit is just enough to infuse flavor, not to break down the proteins in a harsh way. It's flavor infusion, not a chemical cure. It also helps set up a better crust later on.
Fascinating. So that hour is really about pushing that intense flavor deep into the muscle.
Precisely. It's a mandatory step for deep flavor. And while that's happening, we can start on phase two, crafting the creamy lemon butter sauce.
This sounds simple, but again, the details show a really layered construction. It starts with the aromatic base.
Right. Step one, 3 tablespoons of olive oil in a pan. And you add 1 tablespoon of chopped garlic and 3 tablespoons of chopped onion.
And the source says they have to be stir-fried.
Yes, and that word is important. It's not just about softening them. You're starting the Maillard reaction. You're building that deep caramelized flavor right from the beginning.
Okay, so that slow development is key. Then it keeps building. You add 3 tablespoons of chopped carrots and 1 tablespoon of sliced green olives.
And continue stir frying.
No, I have to ask about this step. We're trying to make a creamy sauce. Isn't adding 3 whole tablespoons of chopped carrots and olives going to make it chunky? Doesn't that sort of defeat the purpose of creamy?
That's a key point of analysis here. It tells you about the intention of the final dish. This isn't meant to be a thin, smooth texture and that acidic kick from the olives. They justify the complexity.
Understood. So it's about textural complexity, not a flaw in the design. Then we get to step 2, the dry seasonings and building richness. And this includes that. Very unusual ingredient.
Indeed. We add 1 teaspoon of crushed black pepper, half a teaspoon of salt, and then the surprise, 1 teaspoon of chicken powder.
In a fish dish.
In a fish dish. And that confirms the goal here is pure, powerful umami. Chicken powder is basically just dehydrated chicken stock, often boosted with MSG. It gives a savory depth that butter and lemon just can't achieve on their own.
It connects back to the glutamate profile from the soy sauce in the marinade.
Exactly. It's the calculated move to create a savory profile that's much more complex than just lemon and butter.
And right after that, the fat, 30 grams of butter, melted completely into that mix.
And that melted butter is doing 2 things. It adds richness, of course, but it's also creating the necessary fat base for the next step, the thickening mechanism.
This is where we make a classic roux.
A classic roux.
You add 2 teaspoons of all-purpose flour to the butter. And here's the second critical timing instruction in the whole recipe. The flour has to be cooked for precisely 1 minute.
That 1 minute is everything. It is the absolute key to the sauce.
Why so critical?
If you skip that, your final sauce will taste raw and starchy, pasty. That minute of cooking lets the starch granules absorb the fat and it completely cooks out that raw flour taste.
So the sauce is smooth on the palate, not doughy.
Exactly. It turns a simple paste into a real sophisticated thickening agent. It's a tiny detail that saves the entire dish.
Okay, so once that roux is cooked, we move to the final liquids.
Correct. You're
Mhm.
gradually is a key word. Add 2 cups of milk, whisking constantly.
So you don't get lumps.
You don't get lumps. You're preventing a sudden temperature shock, which would make the starch seize up,
And then the final flavor adjustments. 1 tablespoon of mustard paste.
which adds a nice tang, but also acts as a mild emulsifier, helping the sauce stay stable.
And 2 pinches of thyme, leaves for an earthy note.
Mhm.
And finally, the lemon juice. 1 tablespoon. And the source says the result is a creamy lemon butter sauce.
And what's so fascinating is how we got there. We used a very technical, classic European process, the roux, to manage the texture for a flavor profile that started with a savory vegetable base and was boosted by concentrated umami from chicken powder.
It's just so clear that this whole dish is defined by its structural integrity. And now we have to bring it all together in phase 3, the grilling. And this is where the biggest warnings come in.
Yeah, the prep itself is simple. Use a grill pan, grease it well with olive oil, get it nice and hot.
And that high heat is important.
It's key for getting a good sear and for making sure the fish doesn't stick.
And then we get the big warning about flipping the fish. The source says very explicitly, if you flip it too early, the fish will break. Why is that risk so high?
It's pure protein science. When the fish hits that hot pan, the proteins, the albumins, start to coagulate and set. If you try to move it before those proteins have formed a solid crust,
It's still too loose.
it's too loose, and the spatula will just tear the muscle fibers apart.
Yeah.
You have to wait for that solid, self-supporting crust to form. Cook one side fully, flip with confidence, then cook the other side. You can't rush it.
That's the difference between a beautiful fillet and, a plate of fish flakes.
Absolutely.
But the instructions don't stop there. After it's cooked through, the source adds this really unusual, almost counterintuitive final step,
Mm-hmm.
the steaming finish.
This is where the technique really elevates the dish.
Mhm.
After all the grilling is done, you're instructed to steam the fish, probably by putting a lid on the pan for 2 minutes on the first side and then another 2 minutes on the second side.
Well, wait, why add steam after grilling? Isn't the whole point of grilling to get that dry heat, that crust?
It is, and this is a brilliant way to have the best of both worlds. The high heat gives you the crust and flavor, but also inevitably draws out some moisture.
Okay.
This quick steam is a rapid rehydration step. It redistributes moisture back through the muscle, making sure the inside is incredibly tender and flaky. It basically compensates for any dryness from the grill.
So you get the sear and the flavor, but you don't sacrifice the tender interior.
You get it all. It's like an actively managed resting period. That 4 minutes of steam is the final polish on the dish,
Okay, so once it's steamed, we're ready for plating.
the final composition. You arrange your vegetables, serve it with some plain rice to balance out all that richness. Place that perfect, intact piece of grilled fish, and then just drizzle that thick, creamy lemon butter sauce right over the top.
So when we step back and look at the whole roadmap, what does this tell us?
It shows a really fascinating culinary synthesis at work.
A fusion of ideas.
Fusion. You're combining these robust, savory, Asian-influenced flavors in the marinade, the soy sauce, the chili flakes, with a foundational technique from classic European cooking, the roux,
It's a chef deliberately choosing the best tools from different toolkits.
to achieve a very specific, elevated result.
Mm.
It's not random, it's intentional.
And for you, the learner, this is why we go depth on this stuff. It's not just knowing what ingredients to use, but understanding the mechanics of when and for how long.
Mhm.
That 1 hour marinade for flavor, the 1 minute toasting the flour for texture, that 4 minute steam for moisture.
Those specific timings are the entire difference between a simple.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're setting aside the usual fare, no financial reports, no memos. Instead, we've got a different kind of blueprint.
A culinary one?
Exactly. Our source is a complete, very meticulous recipe for a grilled fish with lemon butter sauce.
And this is the kind of source that, gives you the highest return as a learner. We're not just reading a shopping list.
Right.
Our mission here is to really unpack the chemistry and the technique behind it all. We're going way past the ingredients to look at the ratios, the timing, the why behind the method.
Okay, let's get into it. The first thing that jumps out at me is the structure. This isn't just cook fish, make sauce. It's laid out in 3 very distinct, very critical phases.
Absolutely. And each one depends on the last.